everyone, and welcome back to a brand new speed build. Today I have a large Tartosa family home, and it's a long one, so grab something to drink, grab something to snack on, cozy yourself up with maybe like a blanket or something, get everything you need to do it now, because this is a long video. I am so excited to share this build because I have been wanting to share this since I built this, and I started building this a year ago. Yeah, so if you've never been here before, you might not know this, but basically, here on the channel, we have a running joke that I have so many videos like already done that I don't actually need to play the game anymore because I have videos for like the rest of the year. And I am not kidding when I say that. I have so many builds I need to post. But because I only post once a week and sometimes life gets in the way, so I can't sometimes post once a week even. I get a huge backlog of videos, and I've been meaning to post this because this has been one of those backlogged videos, but I kind of put it like, okay, right, I've been wanting to post it like so badly, but I also didn't put it as the highest priority because I knew it was going to be a long video and I knew it was going to take me forever to build, to edit, because I knew it was big. I knew it was a big one. I tried to start editing this back in October, I'm pretty sure, but I didn't finish it. I didn't even open the editing map until 2 weeks ago maybe. So yeah, it's been a while. Like I said, I started building this like a year ago. I didn't finish it until a few months later because this was just such a huge build that I kind of took a break from it for a little bit. I do that with some builds. Sometimes I start a build and I finish it like either that day or like within the next few days. Like it's just I keep going back to that video, to that build. But then some builds I'm just like, this is stressing me out. I am going to take a break and then I don't finish it until a few months later. You never know. But anyways, this is a huge home in Tartosa. And well, I don't know if it's huge. It ends up being 5 bedrooms, yes, and many bathrooms. I have no idea how many bathrooms, to be honest. But there ends up being room for 2 parents, 2 teens, and 2 kids. And there's also an office, a greenhouse room kind of that is attached to the build. You'll be able to see on the what would it be? The right hand side, and there's a little bump out with like the glass roof and stuff like that. It ends up being kind of like a greenhouse, conservatory kind of situation. There also ends up being on the right side, you will see that I end up using these like kind of open windows kind of. So I feel like that would be considered more of the conservatory than the greenhouse thingy. But anyways, there ends up being that room as well. And then there's also 2 living rooms and there's just like a lot of extra rooms in this house. So it ends up being pretty big, although it's not like for like 8 Sims. You could have, technically you could probably have a lot of Sims because there are like double beds in the teens rooms, but it would be weird to have like 2 teens sleeping in the same bed, unless obviously they're a couple. But I feel like that would still be a little weird if they're teens and they live together in this house like that. It'll be a little weird. But you can make the office into another bedroom. I wouldn't advise making any of the other rooms into bedrooms because that would just be kind of weird. But you could if you wanted to. But yeah, this house, I love building in Tartosa. I know you've only seen me do it twice, I'm pretty sure, on the channel. 3 times if you count a cafe I did, but 2 family homes. And I think I've mentioned it in those as well that I love building in Tartosa. It is very much outside my comfort zone though. Like this is not my, family suburban homes, which is my comfort zone. But this is very much outside of it. But I always have so much fun when I build in Tartosa. Tartosa is kind of a small world as well, so sometimes I get the urge to build here, but I'm like, I have to save a little bit because obviously I'm building for my save file, so once I built on this lot, I'm not going to build here until my save file is done, because I want to, every single build I make currently is for a save file or for like collabs and stuff, but like otherwise it's for my save file. So I'm kind of like saving some lots. But yeah, I love building in Tartosa, especially when I find some type of inspiration picture, because this like Mediterranean Tuscan style is very much not my comfort zone. Again, it's not my comfort zone in building, but then also I don't have this type of houses like where I live. I do not. Just no. I live in the middle of nowhere. Actually, no, it's not the middle of nowhere, but I live on the countryside in Sweden, so we don't have like these types of houses. And the only time I've ever really seen anything like this is when I've been to like Spain or Italy or Greece, but even then, like, I've been in cities. So yeah, this is just not my comfort zone. But anyways, what I was getting to with this is that I did go off of a picture from Pinterest. I will plop it up here on the screen for you, and you will see that it really did inspire, especially the kind of like, I don't know what to call it, I'm gonna call it the conservatory room, but it's not really a conservatory. It's this, again, on the right hand side you will see the long kind of bump out that is on the front of the build that ends up having these like open windows that we got from base game. Like, that room, I don't know what to call it, so I'm gonna call it the like the conservatory room, but it's not. So I actually don't know. If anyone knows the correct term for it, let me know in the comments, because I got no clue. But yeah, I like really wanted to do this build because of that, and I was a little bit unsure if I was going to be able to pull it off, because sometimes something can look like really good in real life or on Pinterest, you know, whatever, it can look really good, but then when you try to replicate it in the game, it just does not it does not compute well. Like, it is just not, this just does not work. I feel like I stumbled on my words there. But yeah, it just doesn't work all the time. So I was really happy when it worked out for this, because I went into this build completely believing that I would have to like scrap that part of the build, but I didn't, and I'm really happy with it because I think it looks unique compared to like other homes I've done. And then there was just like other things in this house that I absolutely love. Like, this is like genuinely one of my favorite houses that I've ever built. I love it so much. I think I went like out of my comfort zone with a lot of things, not just the style, but just in general. I went out of my comfort zone. It is still very much a Mal build. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of clutter and, you know, stuff like that, but it's very cozy on the interior as well, which again is very much a me thing to do. But like, I don't know, there's small things, like, again, that room, that conservatory-ish room, is very much outside my comfort zone. I use a lot of platforms in this build, which I tend to not do because I don't know, they're not, people always say they're a pain. I don't think so. They can be a little finicky sometimes, but like, they're not really that much of a pain, for me at least. I don't know, maybe I'm just, you know, telling myself that. I don't know. But anyways, I use a lot of platforms, which you can see that even from just the exterior of this build. Like, on the front of the build, you can see the stairs leading up to the front door, which also ends up being on the second floor, which is a little weird, but it just looked good. And I'm pretty sure actually in the reference photo that I had, the like front door was on the second floor. Maybe I am wrong, but I really like the stairs going up it. I think it's really cool. And also in the backyard, which this is like one of my favorite backyards I've ever done, it ends up being, I don't know if a backyard is the right term, because there ends up being very little like actual yard space, because a lot of it is just like a porch, or I think you would call it like a porch, because basically I use a lot of different platforms, again, to like make different levels. So the pool is kind of on a platform, and there's a platform to that, and there's a platform like everywhere, and I love it so much. And on the interior there's also a lot of platforms. I feel like you could definitely have a platform tally counter currently, because I've been saying the word platform so much. I swear, can someone, like, if you want to, can you go back and like count how many times I said platform, because I feel like I said it a lot, or maybe I'm just like imagining it, and maybe it's just like 5 times, which still is a lot, but like not an absurd amount, you know. But yeah, so I use platforms, which is not my comfort zone. And then for the color scheme for this build, it is the same color scheme I've gone for every single Tartosa build I've done. And that's just because I feel like it's very fitting. I've never really been in any of like homes like this, so maybe I am wrong, but it ends up having this kind of lighter wood tone color scheme. So there's a light brown wood tone that I use a lot. And then I also use the darkest wood tone we have, not like the black one, but like, you know, the dark brown wood tone that we have. I think I end up using a little bit of that, but it's mostly this like light brown wood tone and this kind of like creamy wood tone, and I just love it so much. I had so much fun with this build, just making it as cozy as possible and just like, you know, everything you would ever want in a build. Like, I would love living here. It's kind of big maybe, but I would genuinely love living here. It's so cozy. But yeah. What else was there? There's like a lot of things I need to talk about for this build. There's a lot. I do, however, want to say, before I start talking about like The Sims living here and, you know, all of that, I am so sorry if you hear any videos, any sounds in the background. I'm currently, I was gonna say I'm home alone. I'm not. My cousin and my brother are home as well, but my parents are not home and like my aunt is not home, so one of the dogs is with me, so I have my door open, which I always close it when I'm recording. You might have, if you've been here before, you might know that like my cat will sometimes be meowing outside my door because I closed it and she wants to be let in. But so if you hear any sounds, that might be why, or it might be my dog snoring on my bed, or it might be my cat coming into my room, you know. I don't really know what's gonna happen, but I just thought I'd mention it now in case you have heard any weird noises or you will hear any weird noises. But yeah, anyways, talking about The Sims in this house. Actually, no, wait, before that, I need to talk about something, because obviously this video ends up being an hour and like almost 6 minutes long. The screenshots are pretty long, but I think the video portion itself ends up being like an hour and 2 minutes, something like that. There are timestamps as always, but it ends up being pretty long. And I had to make the decision to cut out a few things. Like, obviously I cut out the normal things, like most of the bathrooms except for one, which, by the way, the bathrooms of this house are like my favorite bathrooms I've ever done. I love them so much. They are so like cozy and just like I want to be in that bathroom, which is really weird because normally bathrooms are not interesting, and that's why I cut them out. I do only show one for this as well because the time, otherwise I probably could have showed you several, but then also they do all kind of look the same, which is also a reason I cut them out normally. But yeah, there ends up being just like really cozy bathrooms, which is really weird. But anyways, I had to cut out all the bathrooms and all the hallways. I'm pretty sure I cut out as well, even the entrance hallway, which I try not to do, but it just was not exciting to watch that at all, and it just really didn't fit in to like show that. And then I feel really bad about this because I like to keep in as much as possible of the build. However, again, this video was so long already, and I don't want you guys to have to sit here for like an hour and 20 minutes, and I can't talk for an hour and 20 minutes currently because I am exhausted. I will talk about that later probably, but I just can't. So I decided to also edit out the office, which again, I am so sorry. There are screenshots of it, of course, and if you decide to download this build, obviously the office is there. And I also ended up not editing out the footage of the greenhouse, not the conservatory part, like that I do show, but the greenhouse with like the glass roof and stuff, that one I did cut out because it was just not really that interesting, and you have seen me probably do a bunch of greenhouses before, and this was probably the least interesting one you've ever seen me done, so I think it's fine. There are also screenshots of that anyways, so it should be fine. And then I also cut out one of the living rooms because, like I said, there ends up being 2 living rooms. So on the bottom floor, which again, the front door is on the second floor, but on the second floor there ends up being the like 4 of the bedrooms and also kind of a living room. I will talk about it, but kind of a living room space and like some bathrooms. But then on the first floor, which is normally where you would have the like the front door, I put the normal things you would have on the first floor. So it's a little bit weird maybe, but anyways, on the first floor there ends up being the kitchen, a dining room, again, the conservatory space and the greenhouse space, some bathrooms, one of the bedrooms, the office, and then there's also laundry room, but then there's also like a living room, but that living room doesn't have a TV. That is the living room you will see me do because I love that living room. I love the second one as well, but it just, time-wise, it didn't work out, and I am so sorry. Again, there are screenshots of like every single part of this build, so you will see it then, or if you decide to download it. But yeah, the living room on the second floor is the one I won't show. I can tell you a little bit about it though. Like, it is the living room that has the TV. I'm pretty sure I did not put a TV in the first living room, which normally I only do builds with one living room. Like, this is not normal for me at all. Like, don't get me wrong. However, I ended up with this like huge hallway space, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I decided to just make it into a second living room, which for some people might be weird. For me, it's not that weird. I have been in houses before with that. I think I have done it a couple of times before. The one time that comes to mind is when I did my modern penthouse a few months ago. I think it might be like 6 months ago. I genuinely don't know. But anyways, when I built that, I also built 2 living rooms, kind of. That didn't really have, it was like one main living room, and then in the hallway there ended up being like another TV space, because again, for some people that might not be realistic, but I have been in homes where that was the case, where like they had 2 kind of like living room spaces ish, whereas like obviously there's the main living room, but then there's also a second place where you're like, usually you will have like the TV, and maybe it's more like the family room, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I feel like the family room might be a better explanation of it, but anyways, so yeah, again, it ends up being, it's not that big, the living room on the second floor, or the family room, or whatever you want to call it, and it is kind of also a hallway, but I used the couch from the Basement Treasures kit, because when I started building this, the Basement Treasures kit and the Greenhouse Haven kit had just come out, and you will see that is, like, you can probably tell because I used so much from those 2 kits in this build. Like, that was my main thing coming into this build. I really wanted to use those 2 kits, and I definitely succeeded in using them, but I do end up using the couch from the Basement Treasures kit, and it ends up being, again, just really cozy. There are some screenshots of it, of course, if you want to see it. But yeah, moving on and talking about the family that I imagine living here. So I already told you that there are 5 bedrooms, and the first bedroom is, well, technically that's the second bedroom you will see me do, because the first bedroom you will see me do is the bedroom on the first floor. Sorry, I just voice cracked. I am so sorry. I'm gonna keep that in though, because that's funny. But yeah, the first bedroom I'm gonna talk about is the parents' bedroom, which ends up being on the second floor, and it's kind of connected to like the front hallway, and it ends up being pretty short and simple. It's it's a parents' bedroom. I don't really know what to tell you. I did, however, end up using a bed that I very, very, very rarely use. I love this bed. It's a base game bed, I'm pretty sure, and it's this, like, I think it's like a Van Gogh bed. I know that like all the swatches of the bed, I think there's only like 3 swatches of the bed, but all of them have paintings, and I'm like 90% sure they're all Van Gogh paintings, because the one I end up using is the sunflower one, and then there's also like one swatch with the Starry Night painting, and then there's one more, I'm pretty sure. I think so. I think there's a third one. It might not actually only be 2, because I can only think of the 2 now. But anyways, I almost never ever use this bed, because it's just not one that I use, and I almost never see anyone else use it as well. But I think that it fits in pretty well for this build. Obviously you can let me know in the comments how you think, but I think it ends up being really cute in there. And they have an ensuite bathroom and a very small walk-in closet, but still a walk-in closet, and they have some, like a dresser and, all of that good stuff. And then the technically the first bedroom you will see me do is the first teens room, which is on the first floor, and it's kind of wall to wall with the office, and both of the like doors to that to those rooms are in the living room you will see me do. Not the obviously the living room on the second floor, but the living room on the first floor. I don't know, I feel like I'm confusing myself here. Anyways, that teens bedroom ends up being like one of my favorite teens bedrooms I've ever done. I think it ends up being really cute, and I didn't imagine anyone in particular. Like, you can have anyone living there. Like, I didn't think like, oh, this is a teen girl who is really into painting or whatever. Like, no, I have no clue. I have no clue who lives there. I just know that they like music, I think, and they also like video games, and they like maybe some sports. Like, they like a bunch of different stuff, and I really like that. And I end up going for a bed that came with I think the Parenthood expansion pack, and it's kind of like this orangey brownie swatch, which I never use, but I think it ends up working pretty well in there. And in general, that bedroom ends up being kind of like an orangey brown color scheme, and I just used a lot of different posters and, you know, just a lot of different things to kind of, you know, show off that it is a teen living there, which I think I succeeded in. Obviously, I mean, you can be the judge on that in the comments if you want to, but like, for me, that is very much a teen's bedroom, and I hope you guys like it as well. And then the other teens room is actually the last room you will see me do. I feel like I'm talking about these rooms in maybe a weird order. I am so sorry. But anyways, that last teens room, the second teens room, I don't know if I'm saying last teens room, there's only two, but the second one is for someone who really likes painting. That room ends up having a little bit more of like a boho aesthetic. I mean, in general, I feel like this entire house maybe has a little bit of a boho aesthetic, but specifically for that teens room, I end up going with, again, kind of a boho aesthetic, and I love it. I personally would love that room if it was in a like darker color scheme. I've talked about it before. I'm not gonna bore you with all the details, but like, in general, that is very much my style. I like the kind of like dark boho celestial, you know, that kind of like alternative kind of style, which I feel like sometimes boho doesn't. I feel like I've said boho so many times now as well, I'm so sorry, but like, I feel like that aesthetic sometimes feels a little off to include in all of those other ones, because you would be like, oh, but they're so dark, and then there's boho, which is kind of, you know, flowery and whatever. But in my mind, they kind of go together sometimes. Not always, of course, but sometimes they do, and I really like it. But the one I do for this house ends up having like the lighter boho theme, and I really like it. And then there are two kids rooms, like I said before. The first one ends up being for someone I thought they might like science, and like I put the science table in there, and I also put the we had this wall decoration from high school years, I think. It is like one of my favorite wall decorations. I use it in every single kids and teens room that I do ever, because it has so many different swatches with so many different things. It has some different swatches with like posters and stuff like that, like clusters of different posters, and they all have different themes. Like, there's one that has more like a gaming theme, one that has like a sports theme, and has like a bunch of different ones. But then there are also a few swatches with more like tapestry type stuff, and like, again, one of my favorite objects in this entire game. I wish we had more objects like that, because again, I use it all the time. But a swatch that we have of that I almost never use is the periodic table, and I thought it would be really cute to put in that room to just like show that this kid really likes science. And normally when I do like sciencey kids rooms, I tend to go for more like a space theme, but for this one I didn't want it to be space themed. I wanted it to be just like a kid, so like the rest of the room is mostly just like kid stuff, you know, like they have toys and whatnot and like clutter and whatever, but they have like a few science elements, because maybe that is their favorite subject in school, and maybe currently they want to grow up to be a scientist, but maybe that's what they will grow up being, like grow up and what am I saying? Maybe that is what they will grow up to be. Maybe it's not. Like, again, if you want to play in this house, obviously you don't have to play with this kind of family dynamic that I have thought up. I'm sorry, I just hit my desk with my elbow. I am so sorry. But again, you don't have to play with like the family dynamic that I thought of. Like, you can do whatever you want. I don't really care. But if you want to play with the dynamic that I thought of, or like the kind of family storyline or whatever, I thought it might be cute to like either have the kid actually grow up to be a scientist or to just be, something completely random, because I feel like all of us as kids, we wanted to be something, and then most of us are probably not in that field currently. I mean, obviously it depends on also what you count as kid. Like, if you count on what you wanted to be when you were a teen in like high school, then maybe that is more true, because obviously you're older then. But like, I was thinking that this kid is maybe like 10 and really into science, so maybe they want to be a scientist, but like, growing up you kind of realize that like, no, that's not really for me. So I don't know, you can decide. Anyways, the other kid's bedroom ends up being kind of, like pink and purple and whatever, and I thought that kid, I actually don't remember what I thought that kid was into. I generally don't know. I think they're just like a kid. I was thinking that they're probably like kind of a social butterfly, and we don't have this in game, but I thought they would grow up to be maybe like a cheerleader and stuff like that. Like, if it was IRL, I was thinking that maybe they're in like some middle school cheer thingy. Like, I don't know, we don't have cheerleading here, but like, that's kind of what I was thinking. Or like, they dance and they're very social, and they are the kind of person that will like run for class president, not because they want to go into like, because I feel like there's two different types of people that run for class president. There's the one that likes politics and like wants to go into politics in the future and stuff like that, and then there's one that is like, they're doing it because they're kind of the popular person and they would still be good at it, and not like the mean popular person, but like the popular person that is like so nice to everyone, if that makes sense. I feel like you get what I'm saying. But like, basically, again, there's two different types of popular people, at least in my experience, and kind of in movie tropes in general. There's kind of the mean girls, and then there's kind of the more like, or like boys, honestly, and then there's the kind of like, they're still popular, but they're really nice, and they're just like, they got popular because they're nice. And I was thinking that kid is kind of like that person. Like, they're just really, really, really nice, but is still into these kind of like really popular things. I don't know if this makes any sense whatsoever, but yeah, that's kind of what I thought of the family. I think there also ends up being room for one cat and one dog. I think that's what I thought of. I'm pretty sure. Or it's like one dog or one cat, where it's both. I'm pretty sure it's one cat and one dog. I think so. But yeah, obviously you can kind of change that very easily. Like, you can put in or take out a litter box and you can basically have a cat here instead. But yeah, that's kind of the family, and I really like it. It's not like anything extraordinary and like out there and something I've never done before, but like, I really like it. I think it ends up being really cute. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else like specifically I want to mention about the build. I already kind of talked about the color scheme I went for. The first room you will see me do in the house, which you've probably already seen me do, is the kitchen. And in there, it's kind of a big kitchen. Like, it ends up being very open. The floor plan in general for this house is not like any of my normal floor plans, so that is also a kind of like, how I said earlier how there's a lot of different parts to this build that is very much outside my comfort zone. That is one of them. Like, normally I don't build anything with this type of floor plan, but I think it ends up working pretty well. And yeah, also the off of the kitchen is the dining room, and the dining room ends up also being pretty big. This entire house is built on the tall wall height, or not, the medium wall height, I'm pretty sure. Well, actually, I think the top floor is the short wall height, but like the first floor is the medium wall height, which I tend not to build with a lot because I have an issue with wanting to fill up every single space of like wall space, or if there's a corner, I will do something with it. If there's an empty wall space, I will do something with it. If you've been here before, you will know this. Like, I know that most like people who do Sims builds say that, but then they see mine and they're like, oh, we're nothing like you. Like, I've literally had people like that I've talked to that are like Sims builders saying like, oh yeah, I love clutter, and then they watch my speed builds and they're like, but you take it to a new level. And yeah, so me having the tall wall height can be really stressful for me because I feel like I have to fill out the wall space and it just doesn't work out all the time. But that's also kind of why I used platforms in this build. I specifically do it mostly on the first floor just to make it a little bit like shorter in wall height and stuff like that. But the dining room ends up being on the like medium wall height because there's no like that is on the non-platform, if that makes sense. I don't think, at least it actually might be one up. I'm not 100% sure, but anyways, yeah, so I had a little bit of issue with that, but in general for this house, again, I already told you the color scheme, and I just went for a very, like, cozy feel, and, like, these people obviously have some money, because this house is huge, and you'd probably not live here if you didn't have some money, but they're not, like, super fancy, or something like that. I was thinking, I mean, maybe they, like, own horses, but they don't have them, like, in this build or whatever. Like, maybe they have a stable somewhere else, because that's pretty common. Like, you own horses but you don't have them on your own property, like you have them in a stable. So maybe there's like the type of family that would do that, and maybe like one of the parents golf, you know, like typical like money things, if that makes sense. Obviously you can golf and have horses without being like having a lot of money, but I feel like when you think of, again, like rich families, that's kind of like things you think of. But anyways, yeah, so maybe they do stuff like that, but like didn't want their home to be filled with fancy stuff. I wanted to feel very cozy and welcoming, and just like, yeah, this is very cozy home. It's still like a family home, you know? But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else but like specifically about the build that I want to mention. As always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I will answer them. And if you want to download this build, my gallery ID is Sims04, and the tray files will be linked down below. If they aren't, yell at me in the comments and I will fix that. And yeah, however, there was something I want to mention before I start rambling about nonsense, because I talked about this a couple of videos ago in my like 3 homes on 1 lot video. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that one. I think it wasn't that video. I don't actually remember now, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't that video. I mentioned this, but I've been getting a lot of questions about it recently as well, so I thought I'd mention it again. But I keep getting questions about these pink water bottles, or these kind of like green horn things that I use in my videos. So you will see me use those two. Like, usually it's those 2 objects. Sometimes I use like other ones, but most commonly I use, again, either the pink the pink water bottle, or the this like green horn that we got from Debug. It's a very weird object. I don't actually know what it's for, but we have it. Usually I use either of those 2. Sometimes I use other ones, but those are the most common ones. And basically you will see me use them in every single video that I do, and you will see me kind of just put them on a surface before I clutter the surface up, and then I delete those. Like, again, if you want to download one of my builds and you're like, but I don't want those things there, they will be deleted. Sometimes I might forget like one that is in an odd place, and you will like find it while you're playing in the house. That's happened to me, like I think even for this house. I was taking screenshots. No, actually it was for another house. I was taking screenshots, and I was like going into this like the last room of the house or whatever, and I was like, hold on, there's a green horn there. There's not supposed to be there. So yeah, sometimes it happens that I forget to delete them, but like usually I do. And specifically if it's like a big surface, I will delete them all. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see them all, but I try to delete them all. But anyways, basically what those are for, they're not just there for like fun things. They're not just there because I feel like it. They're there to take up the like slot place that is on a surface. So again, I will use them if I'm cluttering up a side table, for instance. I will put those things on there before I clutter it up, because every single like surface area in this game you not every single, because sometimes there's like you think you would have one but it doesn't, but like 90% of the surface areas that we have in this game have automatic slots to them. So if you have ever tried to build in The Sims 4, you will know that like if you want to place something on a side table, for instance, let's say you want to place a lamp on a side table, and you like place it on there and automatically slots to one of the spaces. There's usually a couple different ones that you can choose from. Those ones are really good, unless you're a very like cluttery builder like me. I like placing a lot of clutter on a surface like that, and if I try to place that with those slots like unfilled, it can be a nightmare because things just like slot to those automatically. So what I do, and what a lot of different builders you will see do, is use either the pink water bottle or the green horn. Either or. I think the pink water bottle is probably the most common one because the green horn is in debug, so not everyone knows it exists. But basically we like using those things because they're tall, so like even if you place an object you can see it still and you can just delete it. Plus they're pretty skinny as well. But anyways, basically we put them there to take up these slot spaces so that we can place clutter freely. I don't know if this makes sense. I have explained it in the comments before. Like if someone comments on it or like asks about it, I will leave a comment trying to explain, but it's really hard to explain. But like you can see me do it in the living room, for instance. Like currently what I'm looking at is me decorating the fireplace. I don't know how well the voiceover is going to sync up. I might have already have done it. I might be doing it. I might not have done it yet. I don't know. But basically, yeah, you'll see me place these like pink water bottles on the fireplace just to take up these slots so that I can decorate freely. And then when I'm done placing all the decorations I want there, I delete them all. I delete all the water bottles and all like that. Sometimes you won't see me delete all the water bottles, and you might be like, hold on, there's still things there, like the green horn again. There are still things there. Don't worry, if you download this build, they won't be there anymore. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention it. Again, if you still have any questions, like if my explanation was unclear, let me know. But yeah, it's a really good like building tip if you like cluttering like me and you have problems with things not placing where you want them to. You can use that trick. I also, a main thing for me doing that is I use this red shelf, which is CC. It will not be in the build if you decide to download this build. It is basically just there for me to be able to put it at like any level. Like it's a shelf basically, and you can put it at like any level, and then you can place the clutter on that and then drag it to the surface you want it to be. Because like you obviously can use the 9 key, but that is very finicky sometimes. Like it doesn't always put it exactly where the surface is, if that makes sense. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it does not. So I tend to use the red shelf instead. I do have that linked down below as always, or always. Do I say as always? I always have that, and like the mods that I use. But again, you can download my build or any of my builds without having any mods or any CC in your game. Like your game can be completely vanilla and you can still download my builds if you want to, because basically like the mods I use are the Better Build and Buy mod and the Tool mod, which are both mods that just help me build better. Like it helps me put like an object at like a certain, like the Tool mod can make it so that I can put an object at like a certain height or a certain like size. Like I can size it to like 0.001 if I want to, so I can make it really small or really big, or like make it exactly where I want it to be, and I can like rotate it and stuff like that. And the Better Build and Buy mod just makes it easier for me to access the debug menu while I'm playing. But you don't have to have that installed for the build, for like to download my build. My build will still look the exact same. It like if you wait, huh? Sorry, I confused myself. My build will look the exact same if you decide to download it as it does when I'm building it, if that makes sense. Like things will still be the same size and the same place and the same rotation. You don't need the tool mod for that, or the Better Build and Buy mod. And the same thing goes with the red shelf, which I use. Again, you don't have to have that. Like things will still stay the same way. Once it is done, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Again, if you have any more questions about it, let me know in the comments and I will answer them. But I think I think hopefully that explained it a little bit. And I feel like if you've been here before, if you watched other speed builders explain this, you might be like, I am so done hearing about this. Like, I know it, but you know, not everyone knows that. Sometimes I take like things that I know about the game for granted, and then I keep seeing these like things you didn't know you could do in The Sims 4 on like my TikTok or whatever, and I keep seeing things that I'm like, doesn't everyone know that you can like size objects up and down in this game without any mods? Like, does people not know that? Because you can, like, the reason I use the tool mod is because you can do it very precisely, but you can do it like in the game normally. So I just think it's very like, it's, I'd rather mention it than have people be like, I have no idea what you're doing. Like, I'd rather have people being like, oh, I've heard this so many times before, than someone being like, but I feel stupid now because I don't know anything. So yeah, and sometimes you don't want to ask. Like, I know some of you don't want to comment. Like, you might watch this entire video and have questions, but you're not gonna comment because it's kind of scary. Like, I did not used to comment. It still scares me to comment on things. Like, I comment on, like, if I'm watching like a Sims video, I will comment on it and stuff like that, because like it's Sims stuff. Like, I'm a Sims creator, I'm gonna do it. But like, commenting on like if I'm watching, you know, private stuff or like, you know, whatever I'm watching, I do not comment because it scares the ever living shit out of me. But yeah, anyways, I don't know if there was anything else about the build. Again, if you have, once again, I think I've said this like 5 times now, if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I will answer them. But yeah, anyways, how are you guys? I hope you're well. I hope you have had a good week. This video actually might not come up the day it's supposed to. I have no idea. I'm recording this on Wednesday, but I genuinely don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish and upload it on Friday, because this week has been insane. Not really, but like, it has not gone as planned at all. And it might still, like, things are still changing, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. I think this will either go up on Friday or Saturday, but if this is a day late, you will now know why. But I just thought I'd mention it, like, in case you're like, wait, why is this video a day late? It might still come out on Friday, and then I'm talking about this for no reason at all. But basically, like I said, this week has been very unplanned, because basically I only had one plan this week. Actually, well, I had 2. I was gonna work a 3-hour shift today, which is might not sound like a lot, which is not at all, but like, it might sound weird because anytime I mention it to people, they're like, 3 hours, that's weird. But I am basically, I've explained before, I work in a pharmacy, and I'm the type of person that's like, I'm not a pharmacist, I'm not, but I do come in when they need an extra hand with, like, you know, unpacking things or just the general things. Like, I can't give out prescription medication, but I can sell you like over the counter stuff and stuff like that. So whenever they need, like, you know, extra people to do that, or extra people to do inventory, or, you know, whatever, they call in me. And I work part-time, which means that I don't work full weeks all the time. Like, sometimes I will have a week where I don't work at all. But yeah, basically I was supposed to work like only a 3-hour shift today, and then I was supposed to have a driving lesson yesterday. I had to cancel that because of reasons which you will now know about. But yeah, I was only supposed to have a 3-hour shift because they usually also need me to come in over lunchtime so that they can have lunch, because they like to have like 2 people in this like store area at a time. It's a very small pharmacy, so like, we don't have like 7 people there at all times. Like, usually there's like 2 or 3 people working, and for safety reasons and just for like managing everything that's going on, they need 2 people there all the time, except for like maybe during closing or opening, because there's not as many people then. But like, during the day they need more people, so sometimes I will come in just to cover lunchtime, because yeah, again, like, one person can go take lunch, and the other and me can stay in the store and do whatever, and then the other person can take lunch and, you know, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, usually I just cover the lunch shift, and that is what I was supposed to do today. But then on Monday I had slept 3 hours. I woke up at like 4:30 a.m. I could not fall back asleep. Like I don't know why, I just couldn't fall back asleep. So I was like, I was up, I was at my PC just doing stuff, and then I was like, I'm gonna go back to sleep. I'm just gonna get on my PC to do some stuff because I can't fall back asleep. So yeah, I was just, chilling on my PC. I was about to go to bed again when my boss texted me asking if, hey, could you work today? Because like one of our coworkers was home watching their sick child, which is like, obviously they should be able to do that. Their children come first. But my boss was like, hey, could you come in and work? And I was like, yeah, of course. And so then I ended up working that day, and that was not like just a 3-hour shift. I think it was like 4 or 5. And then, which is still not long. Like I know this is not a lot of work for some people. For me, it's more than I was expecting to. Like, I don't mind doing it at all. I could work like 8-hour shift days and I wouldn't care. Because I don't mind working at all. It was just that I wasn't prepared for it, and I hadn't prepared for this week. But yeah, anyways, I worked Monday. It was fine. And then she asked me while I was working, on Monday, she was like, hey, this person is still going to be out tomorrow. Can you come and work tomorrow as well? Which was Tuesday. And I was like, yeah, of course I can. And so I did. And then today I woke up to a text asking if I could come in 2 hours early. So I did. So I've worked like, I was supposed to only work like a 3-hour shift this week. I have so far worked every single day and worked like 5 hours each time, which again is not that much, but like, if you're not prepared to do it, it is a lot. And I don't get lunch because it's 5 hours. So if you work 5 hours, I think it's supposed to, like, you get lunch, but otherwise you don't. And we don't really get like coffee breaks or whatever because there's so much to do. However, like, we're allowed to I have an energy drink with me at all times. Sometimes we'll have like an apple that I'm eating while I'm like doing things. So, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not being like overworked here, and they're not like, it's fine, trust me. Anyways, and then like that was all. And then I might have to work tomorrow as well because one of my colleagues is sick. Not the one that has to watch their sick child, but another one is sick. So I might have to work tomorrow and then also on Friday. So this might be a full work week. So that's why I'm like, I have no idea if this video is going to be able to go out on time or not, because I don't know how tired I'm going to be after I'm done recording this. And then I don't know, again, if I'm working tomorrow or if I'm working on Friday as well. Like, I have no clue. So yeah, that's fun. Also something else that's fun, is when I was working Monday, I was doing something and I was like, kind of like hunched down, not hunched down, what is it called? I was kind of like squatting, if that makes sense. Like, I was sitting on the floor doing something, but not like sitting on the floor, but like I was hunched down. Let's say, I don't know what to call it, when I kind of fell backwards a little bit and I like pulled something on the back of my knee, on my left leg, and I at the time when it happened, it hurt, but then I just it was fine the rest of the day. I was like, ow, that hurt. And I told my aunt who I work with, because she was right next to me, and I was like, ow, that hurt. And she was like, what happened? And I told her. And again, it was fine. I didn't even think of it the rest of the day. I didn't even mention it to anyone. It was fine. Hello, cat. I am so sorry about that. My cat decided to wake up and get into my room and just meow at me and wanting cuddles. I'm so sorry. Anyways, yeah, I didn't even think of it the rest of the day because it didn't hurt anymore and it was fine. And then I woke up at 1:30 in the morning. My sleep has not been good this week either. You will hear, I have been not been sleeping well at all. So I'm exhausted because of that as well. But I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, just was going to go to the bathroom. I stood up and I barely could walk. My leg was in so much pain, and it was specifically the back part of my knee. And I was like, what is happening? And then I was like, oh, right, I did that. And then I was like, oh, dang it. Did I injure myself? And then I tried to go back to sleep. I couldn't because I was in so much pain. So it took me an hour or two to go back to sleep. And then when I finally did fall asleep, I kept waking up every 20 minutes because of the pain. I would turn and it would just hurt. And I was texting my boyfriend because he was still up, and I was like, hey, I did a mount, which By the way, that is a thing in my friend group, and in my family, and like things that people shouldn't know that other people are calling me this, and they don't, but they keep doing this. Like my family does this and my friend group does this, and they have not spoken about it. Like I have not even told the other people that they do this. So I don't know how like weird I am for this to be a thing, but like basically doing a mal is you injure yourself in a weird way normally, but like you hit your head, or you injure one of your feet, or like you injured something, or even like you accidentally cut yourself. Like that is just doing a mal. Injuring yourself in any way is doing a mal, because I am a very clumsy person and I injure myself all the time. But like I texted my boyfriend that, and he was like, what did you do now? And so I told him, and he was like, Mal, you might have pulled like your hamstring or something. Like should not be working tomorrow. And I was like, I have to. And so yeah, I've been working with possibly a pulled hamstring, which is always fun. So I've been kind of like walking with a limp, and then because I've been walking weirdly, the rest of like basically the rest of both my legs have been feeling weird as well, because I'm walking not normal, if that makes sense. Like I'm not walking how I normally do, and I already walk weirdly. Like I have a condition whereas like I walk weirdly, not weirdly, maybe that sounds really weird, but like I basically walk with both my feet inwards instead. Normally people have the problem that they walk outwards. I walk inwards, and I also roll my ankles like all the time. It is part of a condition. I don't know what it's called in English, but I have it anyways. And so I already walk weirdly, and then this combined to it just makes it so that both my legs and my feet are just not having a good time. So I am in pain. I am very tired because I haven't slept, and I'm tired because I've been working. So yeah, that is what I'm doing currently. That is how my life has been this week. Also, sorry if you heard my cat again. She's currently under my desk trying to get me to cuddle with her, and I'm like, dude, I'm recording. But yeah, so sorry, you might be able to hear my cat purr now because I've been cuddling with her, so she's very happy, and she's very loud purr. I don't even know. Anyways, if you can hear her, I am sorry. I just have to record this voiceover because I know if I stop now for more than like 5 minutes, I know I'm just gonna be like, I can do this later, and I know I have to finish this now. But anyways, yeah, that's basically why I'm very tired. And just, it's fun. Like, don't get me wrong, like I love working, I love what I do, I love the people I work with and stuff like that, and it's really fun. But it's also been really stressful at work because like we have had so much stuff to do. Sometimes I can have days where I work and I just do nothing. Like I'm literally sitting there doing nothing. And then there's times like these where like we have so much stuff to do and so many things to move and so many things to do. Like it's so much. So yeah, I'm on like constant move at work, and then I am in pain because of the whole leg situation, which by the way, my boyfriend is not happy with me. Because he keeps being like, he keeps asking me like, how's your leg? And I'm like, it's not good. I'm in so much pain. And he's like, Mel, you have to let it heal. Like, you can't work. You have to let it heal. I'm like, no, I'm gonna work on it anyways. And I'm very stubborn. So yeah, I probably shouldn't, especially if it's my hamstring. I have no actual clue what it is. If it's gonna hurt more than like 2 weeks, I'm gonna go to the doctors. But like, again, this is not uncommon for me, so I think I should be fine. But yeah, pain, fun times. What have you guys been up to? Have you guys been working a lot as well? I feel like it's starting to come to the time where like people are working a lot. I don't know why, but this time of year it's just so much work to do, and I don't know. I guess this depends on like what field you're in, but specifically for me, also to be fair, I live in like a very summer touristy town, and people have already started to move into their summer houses here, specifically like older people who are retired. They have moved into their summer houses, which they have here. Like I live in like a beach place, and I work in the town like next town over, because my town is my village is like 300 people, but the town over has a lot more people, and it's very, very popular to vacation in, so, or like have summer houses in. So yeah, that season has already started. People are already here for that, and so it's just gonna get busier and busier. Like this summer, I know I'm working a lot, which is very sad because I wish I could go and see my boyfriend and my friends in the UK, but sadly I won't be able to because I have work, and like, I've already committed to it. Like, I've already said that I can work, so I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I love my work. Like, I'm not trying to complain at all. Again, I love my work, and I could say no. Like, my boss asks me, like, she's like, hey, could you work? And I can say no because I am not, like, a binded employee. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but basically I can say no because I don't have a certain amount of hours I have to work all, like, each month. They're just like, I am there if they need me, and I can say no. But I've only ever said no when I'm sick or when I've been out of the country. Times where, like, I genuinely can't work. But now I'm gonna work. I mean, technically I probably shouldn't because of my leg, but, like, who cares? I don't care. But yeah, anyways. I don't know. What else is there to talk about? I genuinely have no clue. I have been working and then playing Sims as soon as I get home. I've just been relaxing with, like, building stuff and stuff like that. I've also been playing this game with my boyfriend called I think it's called Lightyear Frontier, which is basically like a space farming game, and it's so much fun. You can do it, I think the biggest group of people you can have on, like, one, because it's multiplayer, but I'm pretty sure you can only have, like, 4 players is the max, I'm pretty sure. But it's a really cozy, like, if you're looking for a game to play with either your friends or your partner or whatever, it's a really kind of, like, cozy game, and we're enjoying, like, different things because my boyfriend is very much like which, by the way, if you're thinking that, like, are you sure your boyfriend wants you to talk about him so much? He is literally giving me permission on several occasions, because I have told, like, my friends and stuff like that, like, yes, I talk about stuff that we do, but I try not to mention names. I try not to mention, like, specific things because they didn't sign up for that. I have asked their permission beforehand, don't worry. Like, I have asked, like, is it okay if I mention things we do? And they're like, yeah, fine. But my boyfriend specifically, he's always just like, no, like, you can say whatever you want about me. You can literally say my full name and I don't care. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, so it's okay with him that I'm telling you this. Don't worry. I am not gonna, like, because I know for a fact that I would feel a little weird if someone that, like, well, I would be fine with it because I do this, but, like, in general, I feel like it is kind of a breach of privacy and a breach of, I don't know, friendships and stuff like that. Like, I feel like it feels a little weird. But anyways, my boyfriend, basically, when it comes to this game, or in any game, he's very much more like he is following the story, and he is exploring, and he is, optimizing things, doing that. And I'm just sitting over here wanting to farm in space. And I just farm, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go on a wood expedition to get some wood. And it's just, like, the same with Minecraft, by the way. Like, he will do, like, go to the Nether and, like, get all the resources and build, like, that type of stuff. Well, I will be in charge of farming and building the cute houses and, stuff like that, and decorating. He literally made sure that I could have every single decoration in the game, because in the game we're playing, like, your Frontier one, because he knows that I love decorating things. And he was like, I'm gonna leave this up to you, so you can do whatever you want while I go off doing whatever I do. And I'm like, thank you. Because it's so fun to, like, have those two different things. Like, we're two different people when it comes to games sometimes, but we still, like, cater towards each other, if that makes sense. Like, basically, okay, obviously something that I feel like I should mention, the new Taylor Swift album came out last week, which, if you don't like Taylor Swift, I don't want to hear about it. I don't know why every single person, they're like, you can talk about everything and, like, any other artist, and people will be like, I don't mind, like, I don't really listen to their music, but I don't mind them, like, they're fine. But when it comes to Taylor Swift, it's, like, polarizing to some people. They're like, oh no, I hate her, or whatever. And I'm like, what? What? Just let people like her. Like, if you want, like, what? Anyways, if I see any mean comments like this, or any mean comments directed to anyone, I would delete them. And not just because I'm a Swiftie who can't see that other people don't like her. Like, you cannot like her music. I don't care. Just don't, like, talk bad things about her. Like, what? Anyways, basically, the new Taylor Swift album came out, and I was very excited, and rightfully so. It is my new favorite Taylor Swift album, and that's not just because it's new, but because this is literally every single thing that I've ever been wanting, because it is the lyricism of Folklore and Evermore, but the production that is more like both of those two albums, but also Midnight's, which is my top albums ever. I love them so much. But anyways, it's my new favorite album, and I was very excited about it. And my boyfriend was like, I will listen to it with you. He doesn't love Taylor Swift. He's kind of like, he doesn't have an opinion. He's like, it's not really my type of music, but I don't mind her, which is the type of person that I'm like, good, you're not like, I don't like her music, so I'm gonna hate on her, because that's just stupid. But anyways, it's like me saying like, oh, I don't like this game, I'm gonna hate on this game for no reason at all. Like, I'm sorry, it gets on my nerves. Anyways, basically, he was like, yeah, I don't like Taylor Swift that much, but I will listen to the album with you. And I was like, no, you don't have to. Like, it's totally fine. Like, I will not force you. Like, I'm totally fine. But then he was like, no, I'm gonna do it. So so he did. He listened to it with me on my first listen, and it was so cute because he doesn't care. He doesn't, but he knows I care. So we were playing Light Your Frontier and listening to the new album, and I was having the time of my life, and it was so cute. Basically, this has become, the last portion of this this build has just become me fangirling over my boyfriend. But you know what? That is okay, because I love that dude, and he's amazing, and he deserves all of the love. So yeah, get yourself a partner that will do stuff like that for you, where it's like they're not gaining anything from that. They're just, making you happy, which is so nice, and I love him so much for it, because I am not used to this in any sort of way. I am not used to it, but it's so cute. So yeah. I don't know. I just wanted to share that because I feel like it's really cute. I keep seeing people on like Instagram and Twitter and TikTok as well, where they're like, me not caring, or me listening to Taylor Swift and my boyfriend not caring but still doing it with me because he's the best boyfriend ever. I'm like, my boyfriend did that too. Like, that is a good partner, guys. That is a good partner. Instead of just being like, ew, Taylor Swift, no. Like, I'm sorry, I don't understand that. I don't understand. Like, I don't like Drake. I don't like his music. I'm not gonna hate on him just because I don't like his music. Like, what is it about Taylor Swift? She's just a successful musician and businesswoman as well. But like, what has she ever done to you? I don't understand it. Anyways, that is basically it for this video. And I really hope you liked it. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!